Welcome, friends and fans, to another episode of GalaxyCon Live, where we are bringing the convention experience directly to you. And today, once again, we'll be visiting the world of Boku no Hero Academia with 5 members of its English language cast. So now is the time for all of you in our chat room to begin typing in your questions for them. Immediately after this session, you will have the opportunity to talk to them directly through our private chat options, as well as purchase personalized autographs, all of which are available now at GalaxyCon.com. So without further ado, let's meet today's guests. First, she is an actress and broadcaster whose credits include The Squeege and Kara Show, Dragon Ball, Fairy Tail, and today she joins us to talk about the role of Bubble Girl. Please welcome Kara Edwards.
Hello!
Hello! It's so good to have you here at the GalaxyCon virtual stage.
I'm excited to be here. This is fun.
Indeed. So how are you doing in your corner of the world?
Man, we're hanging in there. I mean, pandemic and all, we're hanging in there. It's life is going pretty good. Staying busy, keeping the kid healthy.
Hanging in there is the new awesome.
Yeah, right. I feel like that's a question we're supposed to all ask each other, like, how are you doing? And everybody's like, yeah, I mean, cool, like, we're good.
Yeah, that's all it is. And speaking of awesome, she's an actress whose resume includes Dragon Ball, Fruits Basket, and Tokyo Ghoul. Today she joins us as the voice of Minoru Mineta. Please welcome Brina Palencia.
Hi.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Well, in Orlando, we're wearing our mouse ears and pretending everything is normal.
Oh, great.
But how are you in your corner of the world?
Same, hanging in there. Just hanging out with my kid and my fam,
Yeah.
Indeed.
I'm good.
We miss you. We miss you on our normal stages, but we're glad to have you on our virtual stage.
Same.
Mm-hmm. And next, he's a veteran voice actor whose body of work includes Appleseed, Attack on Titan, and Black Clover. Today, he joins us as the voice of Todoroki. Please welcome back David Matranga.
Hello.
Good. How you been, boss?
Oh, I'm all right, man. I'm all right. I love what Kara said about. I'm good. I'm good. I think. It's honestly, for real, it's ups and downs. Like some days are great, other days are like, what am I doing with my life? Will it ever be what it was? So yeah, no, it's good.
I am optimistic that eventually we will get back to mostly normal. It's not going to happen as fast as we all want it to, but I think we'll get there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And next, she is an actress whose credits include Fairy Tail and Steins Gate. Today, she joins us as the voice of La Brava. Please welcome Megan Shipman.
Hi.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm like everyone else. I'm good. I'm good. I'm very excited to be the only villain today. So that's fun.
Mm-hmm. And one of my favorites villains as well, as I call her, Harley Quinn done right. Oops.
She's great. I love her. I love her so much.
Very cool, very cool. Well, glad to have you here at the GalaxyCon virtual stage.
I'm glad to be here.
And finally, she's an actress and director whose body of work includes A Certain Magical Index, Full Metal Alchemist, and Yuri on Ice. Today, she joins us as the voice of My Hero's mad scientist, Mei Hatsume. Please welcome the always awesome Alexis Tipton.
Yay. Hi! Hey, everybody.
Oh, so good. And how are you doing?
Like everyone said,
yeah.
As good as can be expected. I have the unusual situation, at least in this group, in that I live completely alone. So I'm slowly going insane in real life, but it's all right. I'm very happy to be here.
I can't speak to the other panelists, but we've had other guests on that have been with their families for 3 months, and they're going crazy. So
I'm sure it's a different flavor of crazy.
Right.
That's all it is.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, we miss you here at GalaxyCon. We miss giving you a stage to get you in front of your fans. But we have the GalaxyCon virtual stage. We have our audience in there, and they're chatting away and putting their questions for us. In the meantime, I would just love to hear what's been the most fun part about being in the My Hero universe.
I'll go.
Right?
So for me, this is the first time that I got to become a fan of a show before being cast in it. And because just life circumstances, it's hard for me to get to sit down and watch a lot of television that's for myself. And so it was one of the first shows that I got to sit down and I was like, I want to see what all the hype is about. I want to know, oh my God, this is so good. And then like within not that much time, I got the call from Colleen that was like, hey, you're Bubble Girl. And it was also my first time because Bubble Girl shows up at the end of season 3, just for like a little second, that I got to spend an entire like off season talking about getting to be Bubble Girl before actually being Bubble Girl. Which never happens. Usually you're long done or you're in the process of before that happens. So it's like, yeah, this is amazing. I have no idea what's going to happen. Yeah. So that was it. This has been a truly unique experience for me.
Nice. Very nice. And what a fun character too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, really, it's one of the things I love about this show is that it's not afraid to give a character, minor or otherwise, a ridiculous power and then say, well, no, if you really had this power, it could be useful in some certain situations.
Right. Yeah.
Ask Grapehead.
Right.
I'll jump in. I think it's just been being a part of the show has been like no other anime experience for me. From the starting out auditioning for something that I knew or that was suspected to be something that could be popular, but never really knowing. You never know what's going to be, right? And then to go from that to sort of the first season, it was a slow burn. They gave you a lot of information. And then to see it kind of become what it is. And my journey, like becoming a fan of the show while being in it is really an interesting thing. I had a fan, I did a panel, this was years ago or a couple years ago now. And I was just kind of geeking out about the show. It was just a solo panel. And I had a fan someone raised their hand and said, I don't really have a question, but I just wanted to say it's so cool to see that you're as big of a fan of the show as we are.
Aww.
And I was like, was like such a great compliment to me. I didn't really realize that I was, but I totally am. So it's been an interesting journey that way.
I know for me, like I love the show. And I was watching it and keeping up with it, but also just the fact that I actually got to be a villain, because I know a lot of people because you think villain in a show and it's always like the deep seductress lady, and I'm like, well, that'll never be me because I'm over here getting cast as, hi, I'm high school girl number 12, and like that's just not my voice. And so the fact that I got to be a villain and have this experience of not being, not necessarily a terrible person. I don't think Brava or Gentle are bad people. They just, it's such a cool experience getting to do something different and getting to have that, put that little check mark on my list of I want to be a villain, but it's kind of like anime villains fall into like one category, and so
I can definitely. Sorry, I was gonna say
no. It was
echo the sentiment of like getting to do something new and different. I have always wanted to play a character that has a lisp, and there have been many auditions that I've like taken that risk, and it's never been met with positive feedback.
You audition with a lisp all the time, right? Like every audition you do.
I'm just like looking for any excuse. It was super cute, and I thought it was like a very like contrary choice to make for a character that's so hated.
Right.
To try to give him like the cutest version of like a boy voice that I could think of. So yeah, it's been interesting getting to do that, but then also it's been interesting playing a character that everyone dislikes so much.
Right. I had a really
love him.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I will defend him to my dying day, but yeah, it is really, I actually think it's really funny, like reading all the comments of like how much people hate him. I'm just like, guys, he's just a kid, leave him alone.
Yeah,
I've had such a fun time on this show. I love what I call wild card characters that are just like so all over the place, and they can kind of, I mean, you still have to fit the character flaps, but I can break so many voice acting rules with her, which is what I love so much. Like I can be as random as I want to be. And sometimes like Colleen, our director, has pushed me into random territories that I could have never even thought of on my own. So that's been really fun. And also just being a part of something really long running where we can actually like, you know, see this show unfold in a myriad of different ways, because we're so used to working on a show for 13 to 26 episodes and then that's it. But we've gotten movies and we've gotten video games and we've gotten multiple seasons, and it's just the whole thing's just been so special and so different.
Absolutely. And I've said this before, and being in the conventioneering business as it is, one of the greatest things I love about this show is that it's made comic book fans into anime fans, and it's made anime fans into comic book fans. By being the first anime to really take kind of Western ideas, whether from X-Men or the team books and stuff this way, and creating a superhero universe that's palatable to both sides of that fandom equation.
Right. Yeah.
That it just absolutely is. And also too, I love the fact that it's a gargantuan world and tons of characters, which of course means tons of opportunity for voice actors. It's got a deep bench, and there are no one-note characters. It looks like they're really everybody in that's got a life story, and all of you and your peers have really been able to glom onto that. And she's not here, but as always, thank you, Colleen.
Yes.
the hero of my heroes. So, so before we go over the audience questions, real quick, since I always ask this of all my Hero Academia guests, if you could pick your own quirk, what would it be?
I was telling myself I'm going to have a good answer for this question, and then I can never come up with one because there's so many good ones, and I don't want to steal what someone else has already said.
I like Josh. I like Greeley's, where his was the ability to insert a USB drive the correct way the first time always.
Okay, so for me, I'll go, because I always say to myself, like ever since I was little, I was like, man, I don't want to drive places. I just want to like poof, I'm there, and that would be me. I wish I could just like teleport. Now I don't know what kind of restrictions I would have on that, because I feel like there's always like, if you have an OP power, there's always like, well, I can teleport, but I can only go this far. Or something like that. But either way, I think it would be super fun to have, because then I could just be like, wow, I'm thirsty, and I could like poof myself to the fridge and not get up.
So that's actually my answer too, because, and I was thinking about this earlier, I was like, mine would definitely be some sort of teleportation, but I want to be able to teleport, like, especially right now that we're all stuck at home, like, cool, now I'm like at the top of the Rocky Mountains, and now I'm in Utah on a lake. And now, like, that would be, is I miss being able to travel easily. Yeah. So I would love to just be like, no, I want to go here and see this amazing thing, but it's cool because I'll still be back for my 4:00 session.
I always try to answer this question differently, like just whatever comes to me. But right now I'm playing a lot of Breath of the Wild. And I'm really late to the game, but like I'm obsessed with the game, and I'm like, I'm doing everything I can in the game. And anyway, so I want some type of, I don't know what this would be called, but like storage manipulation or like spatial management quirk, where, because if you know the game, like Link, the character carries like, you can carry like 12 swords and like 400 apples and like 12 meals, and he's just running around with like a shield and like amazing armor, and I'm like, where is he getting all this stuff? I want that. I want that quirk, because like my backpack is way too heavy. Not that I go anywhere anymore, but like, I want that. I just want to be able to be like, oh yeah, here's a steak dinner. I just got it from my pocket.
There you go. Yeah,
I made it yesterday here.
Yeah.
I love that.
So David, I hope we'll see you back. Tune in and join us on July 31st. We will have the cast of Breath of the Wild joining us in it like this.
Cool.
I'm totally gonna join. I'm totally watching. Don't worry.
I think for me, I just up with this. I would like to have an empathy ray where I can force people to see different perspectives instantly.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I want you to have that too.
I just want everyone to have that.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we could use some of that.
That would be really good. Yeah.
Mhm.
If I could quick a perk.
We all say it so sadly. We're all like, yeah.
Well,
That'd be great. It's like the same reaction is like, how are you? Well, I'm, yeah.
how are you? I'm fine, but that guy over there is having a bad day.
Yeah.
I'm
Well, if I could pick my own quirk, it would be to sing like Freddie Mercury.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
Indeed. All right, I think we'll go ahead and roll our audience questions. And our first one comes from Lady Anime. Who would you befriend in My Hero Academia?
Ooh.
Bakugo.
Definitely Mineta. He needs a good friend to tell him how to person. He needs better friends.
He needs better influences in his life, for sure.
I would befriend Bakugo because he would okay. And I hope Cliff doesn't see this.
I'm gonna tell him. I'm gonna send him a message right now. I'm ready.
Cliff is watching just to get ammunition. Cliff is watching.
Oh, he will. He'll text me and go, ha ha. Only because he's one of those people that he will not be like an overbearing friend, but he will tell you like, can you just stop being stupid for 2 minutes? Like when you need to hear it. Not necessarily for his sake, but it sounds like, you know what I mean? It sounds like he's just being berating, but he's also someone that's like, you're being dumb. Stop it. But it's for a good reason,
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
not because he's just calling
Cliff or Bakugo?
both. But yeah, so I think and it's funny because if you watch the show, like he has like this little pack of characters surrounding him of friends, and they're so loyal to each other, and you're like, okay, well, he can't be that crappy of a guy if people actually hang out with him all the time.
Is this for our character or for like who would we want to hang out with?
I think it's you could decide.
All right, so if it was me, I would want to hang out with Fat Gum because that guy can burn fat faster than anyone, and I want the ability to be able to like hang out, binge eat, and then and then the same day just go like lose it all.
Right.
I think Todoroki would benefit from hanging out with Mirio though. Mirio's so positive and like, and even me, like when I hang out with Rico, I'm like, man, I need to be like,
Mirio. That's one of the best castings in the show.
I know. And I'm like, you're so positive.
Mirio. He's Mirio.
Yeah. So
That's my answer. So Mirio, because I'm like, you can't. Same with Rico. You can't be in a bad mood and like spend 10 minutes with Rico without, I mean, if anything, you might feel really bad about yourself just because there's no way you're going to accomplish as much as him in a day. But otherwise it's like, every time I see him, I'm like, oh, that was nice. That made me smile.
Yep.
And when I hear Mirio, I'm just like, yeah, Rico.
Yep.
Just pure liquid sunshine.
I just want to, except for when he plays Secret Hitler.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only exception.
Yeah, I got to witness that.
See, if you play Secret Hitler with Rico, he is cutthroat.
Yeah.
He uses that sunshine as a mask.
Yeah.
Darkness underneath.
Good to know. Alexis, we get one from you?
Oh no, I'm just trying to work in. No, same thing. If I could pick two, like I think if you had Mirio as a best friend and Ochako as your other best friend, like your life would be nothing but like wonderful sunshine bliss. Like they're just two. You've got Ochako, who's like very maternal and like sisterly and wants to take care of everyone. And then you've got Mirio, who's you can do it, you can do anything. Yeah, and I don't know. I would just be like my life would be like perfect. Yeah, it'd be so great.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'd pick Mount Lady for reasons. Next one. Thank you, Lady Anime.
Mineta should be friends.
Thank you, Lady Anime. That was a great question to start us off with. And what's our next one? From Kristie, what characteristics do you share with your character?
Oh.
This one's easy for me. I can tend to have high expectations of myself, be a little bit hard on myself, kind of live in that area in my, in challenging times, like in my head that way. And I think Todoroki does that too. I think he, because of his upbringing, because of what he's expected to be, I think that he's really hard on himself and doesn't really give himself a break. And I think that keeps him sort of isolated, from others. And so I can relate to the being hard on yourself, being stuck in your head that way kind of thing.
I think something that I relate to with May is that the way I go about it is different, but if she's really passionate about something, which is everything she does, like she really, really wants to tell people about it. She wants to tell everybody everything about everything that she's passionate about. And I wait to make sure the person's interested before I just push everything onto them. But if I feel like I have a willing audience, I can talk a mile a minute about the things I'm passionate about. So yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah. I know for me, the whole thing with La Brava, and again, their arc is kind of short and sweet at the end of season 4. But there's a moment where you really see both of them really want somewhere they can belong. They want to have that person they relate to, that community, just one person. And I think, they seem really goofy and silly and happy and really silly cartoon villains, but they genuinely want a human connection with someone. And I think that is especially now, it's when you're just in the same room for 3 months on end. I think it's so you just really, everybody really wants a connection like that. And so I think that's something that really, when I got to that part, I think I cried in my closet a little bit because I was like, poor baby. But yeah, so that's something I relate to, because I think it's just a very human kind of problem to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair.
I think with Bubble Girl, she's not. We don't spend a lot of time with her on the show. So with some of the other characters I've voiced in other shows that I've spent years and years getting to know, I feel like there's this great connection to. I don't know so much with Bubble Girl, but I will say one thing that I think we do have in common is she's a workhorse. She's going to get the job done. She's kind of just focused on getting in there, doing what she's supposed to do, and getting out. And that, I kind of feel like I've always said that about myself when it comes to my work, is I'm a workhorse. I may not be the best, but I will definitely get in there and work hard and, try to do my best and then get out. And so that's kind of always been how I do business, is okay, yeah, what do you need? Let's get it done. Okay. So I think I was able to identify with that sort of, yes, sir, let's do this.
Yeah.
I guess if I were to boil it down to a really human, I don't know, characteristic, I guess I can definitely sort of have false bravado, where I kind of pretend I'm a lot more confident than I am, just to as a defense mechanism to just get through it. And I feel like Mineta does that a lot, just kind of yeah, I'm pretty much the coolest, whatever. I definitely will do that sometimes. Be yeah, I'm amazing. Who cares? I'm the best. Let's move on.
Kristie, thank you. Great question. What do we have next? From Lily. Oh, what do you do to practice or vocal warm-ups beforehand that help you get into the mood to do, let's say, your My Hero character voice?
Oh, well, I know beforehand when I would have to drive to the studio, I would usually just kind of talk to myself, or I would put something on and I would just sing and just kind of wake my whole voice up. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't, and I don't know, I wouldn't necessarily sit there and go, hey, constantly, because that can be a lot, but just to wake my voice up. Nowadays, I roll out of bed and I walk to my closet and I go, well, I hope I can do this.
What?
Oh no, my camera. I'll be back, I swear.
Okay, we can still hear you, though. We can still hear you.
Okay, well, that's my answer. No,
Okay.
Nobody look behind the screen. Nobody look.
Okay.
I did vocal trills, sing scales, and these type of singing, warming up, stretching out. I have
do a lot of tongue stretches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Doing tongue twisters. Hey, doing tongue twisters and things like that. Just anything that because I do a lot of like narration. Narration commercial work. So now the character stuff, I'll be even more conscious depending on, sometimes you know what you're doing, sometimes you don't, to be really conscious of like, where am I at? Also it's not really a vocal warm up, but like I drink a stupid ton of water.
Yeah. People always talk about like special teas and all that kind of stuff, but like there is nothing better for you than water. Like you can drink all the tea in the world, like cool, maybe it'll help, but like water, number one, most important.
The best thing about the tea is that it's still water.
Yes, exactly. That's like literally
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, for me, it's different for every character. Like I always do a little bit of a warm up, just something like vocal trills or just like scales or just like, especially now if I'm going into the booth that I have at home, you know, I just want, in order to have like the full use of my register, I'll do like kind of baseline stuff like that and muscular warm ups like Brina was talking about. But for some characters, it's more of a warm up, like almost mentally, like for Todoroki, you know, I'm a much more excitable type of person naturally. I speak fast. I like to chat, and you know, so I have to kind of calm myself down and remember those qualities about him. Otherwise, I get in and it takes me like 10 minutes to find, you know, where that space is. But so some characters are like that.
Yeah. Same thing. Like it kind of changes depending on the demands of the character. But May is like so high energy all the time that I know I'm going to be really tired after the session's over. So I make sure I don't have anything else like right after that. Because I need to go like sit down and be quiet for a bit. But also because she speaks so quickly. I do a lot of like what Brina was talking about, like the mouth warm ups, while I'm making coffee, you know, things like that. And yeah, it's like just trying to like psych myself up, especially if it's a 10 a.m. session, even though, you know, right now we can just roll out of bed and, you know, go to our closets or whatever, but it's still like oh God.
Yeah. It's almost harder in a way because you have to like get yourself moving. Like, you know, if you're going to a studio, ostensibly you like took a shower, you like got, you know,
you focused on driving, your brain
get in a car.
Exactly.
Well, especially having a kid, like it used to be that I had 30 to 45 minutes of a drive without a child.
Right.
Where I could like, actually focus. And now it's like instant from like hand them off to my mom or to a babysitter and then like go into the closet. You know, it's like, it's a lot harder for me now.
Have these rituals changed for you now that you're doing recording at home?
Yeah, it is a lot weirder at home because like they said, it's so weird. Like I was saying, I just kind of roll out of bed and then I'm like, hi, I'm here. And those 10 a.m. sessions are like 10 times harder at home. I usually have like 15 minutes because I luckily live pretty close. So I usually have like 15 minutes to just kind of be like, okay, wake up, da 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 da. I don't drink coffee. I drink caffeine, which is probably 10 times worse. So you know,
you don't drink coffee, you drink caffeine.
Well, I drink a soda.
Oh, like soda.
Yeah, like I'll get caffeine a different way, a different form of caffeine that will kill me one day. But
on the other side,
it's so hard to just like kind of, you do have to like kind of turn your brain off or it like flip a switch almost, because it's like I'm still at home. I'm in my pajamas, question mark. It's like it's so bizarre. And
we are definitely fulfilling the true voice actor stereotype these days, because no one ever wore their pajamas to the studio, but I guarantee all of us have worn our pajamas to a record from home session.
I'll just say the amount of times I have worn pajama bottoms or just not pants is astounding.
Yeah.
The biggest difference for me is, so I have worked from home. I've had a home studio for 15 years, so that part hasn't changed for me. Just being in my own studio is normal. The difference for me is that I now have a 5-year-old that is, I mean, the 5-year-old isn't the difference. I'm used to the child. I'm just not used to him being here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and me not getting that, like, 7 hours of work in. So like having to coordinate between, like, I have a session, so you get to watch Pokemon, and then you got to get away from Pokemon, and now we've got to go homeschool, so you need to learn something. Let's talk about your ABCs, and let's do that for a while, and then I got to pop back in the booth because I have another session, and then I got to do this audition, so kiddo, you got to sit here and play this game on my phone for 5 minutes. And that's been the coordinating between work and the kid is the part where I'm like, whew,
That's so hard.
it's so hard.
It's amazing that you're telling your one of your kids, okay, I need you to watch cartoons so mommy can go.
I can record cartoons.
He actually came in the other day. I'm very fortunate that my partner works in the business too. He's a former engineer, and so he can run my sessions sometimes for when we're doing cartoons. And my kiddo will come in and sit on the couch back here, and so like he's engineering, cartoons are on the computer, I'm in the booth, and my kid will just sit here and watch the cartoons while we're doing it. And
That's awesome.
That's great.
Oh, awesome. Lily, thank you. This is a great question. Hey, and a reminder to our audience, if you'd like to chat with our guests like I am now or purchase a personalized autograph, please sign up now at GalaxyCon.com. And I'll ask Jude, our producer, to roll the next one. From Hanako's wife, what do you think your character's favorite restaurant would be?
Hooters.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Next.
No, that was an easy one.
Yeah.
next.
Oh man. Yeah.
Check.
Yeah. Probably some type of soba restaurant, you know, noodles of some kind. Yeah.
Hatsume strikes me as the type of person who thinks of food as just a way to stay alive, not as something that she like receives joy
Protein
from.
bars.
Yeah, so it's just like whatever's available because she's got crap to do, you know.
God, I can see her being like, I've had 5 protein bars today, and I haven't.
I could easily see that.
Right. Hooters was great.
Yes.
That wins.
I feel like girl could be whatever Sir Night I told her it was. Be like, that is my favorite.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what. I have no idea what La Brava or Gentle. They actually know. I do know. Well, since Gentle likes to have tea and goes to like all these cutesy little cafes to have tea, she probably just wants to go to a tea shop. That's all she wants to do. A little cafe, you know, have a little.
Nice.
I know, right? They're so refined. They're so refined. Okay.
Yeah, I see that. Taking a tea service somewhere. Yeah, definitely. Hanaka's wife, thank you. Great question, Hanaka's wife. And what's our next one? From Lil. The most embarrassing or funny moments while voice acting.
I have a good one. I have a couple good ones. Since we talked about Cliff, I'll talk about Cliff again. One time when we were doing New Game, I was like in the booth, and we were like, it was crazy because we were doing the first season because they were about to like simulcast the second season, and they wanted to do the first season and have it up and out. So it was like a lot of recording, and I was just like losing my mind slowly. But he said something and it was like, okay, do this line, and I want you to change this and do it like that. And I was like, cool, okay. And the beeps happened, and I went, wait, I didn't listen. What did you say? I said, I didn't hear a word you said. I went on autopilot, and he was like, why do I try with you? I was like, I'm sorry. I remember one time during recording that show, he was like, can you just go home and sleep? And I was like, I'll try. That was fun. I also called Jerry Jewell old on accident. In one of my first ever sessions, I was trying to make really bad small talk, and I accidentally was like, you're old. I didn't say you're old, but he was like, yeah, great, thanks. And I was like, I'm never coming back to this place ever again. And then 7 years later, here I am. So I guess it's fine.
You're forgiven.
I'm just forgiven.
I was in a session years and years ago with Chris Savage recording a video game, and it was probably like a Nintendo DS game or something, but it was, I was like a princess that went to different lands. And so it was one of those where you're just, when you're doing games, it's like, you just keep like, you're literally just churning through the lines. And so it's like, you know, let's go to Happyville. Let's go to Joyfulville. Let's go. And you're churning through these lines. And he had rewritten the script. I would do it. And like, and skip over it and keep going. And the client, I think we had like 5 clients on the line. Oh. And I was in such autopilot of just churning through the stuff that I went straight through, and I cannot say it here. But I went straight through one of the most horrifying things that's ever come out of my mouth. And then immediately stopped and was like, and then you can hear the client go, and then he's like, oh no. I'm so sorry. That was all my fault. That is not Kara's fault. I didn't know she was going to actually read it.
Man, I love when Chris's jokes backfire on him like that. That's awesome.
Wow, that was bad. Oh man.
I used to work at Okratron as a when I was directing at Funimation, they had me working at Okratron, which is Chris's studio, like as a satellite studio. So I was working for Funimation, but at Okratron. But working in the building with Chris was like, he was a session halting error in and of himself. Like, there were so many times, like especially if I was recording myself, because it was School Rumble was the show I was working on. I'd be recording myself in the booth, and he would just he would just come in and scare the crap out of me, like, because I'd be super focused, and then he would just like come in and like scream in like the booth, and I'd just be like, oh my god. And it's because of him that I just got in the habit of like locking the doors. Like I would just lock the door to the booth. Like he was impossible. I still have trauma. Really. He was a delight to be around. He's a very generous, lovely man, but oh my god, he's such a child.
He's a constant prankster.
Yes. Oh, he hacked our system last week.
That doesn't surprise me.
Sunday at the very end, we did the other My Hero panel, and at the very end, everybody's microphones are turned off. He hacked into our system, turned his microphone on, and did like an NPR. Well, you've been listening to GalaxyCon, and we hope to see you again. And it went out in the broadcast, and then it backfired on him because we said, "Well, Chris, we own that now. Thanks."
Yeah, right.
That is completely on brand for him.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Too much. Any other crazy stories? Any crazy stories or mishaps during recording?
I was trying to think of one that was appropriate enough to share, because a lot of times it's like really like rated R jokes and stuff. Yeah. When we recorded Haganai like 100 years ago, my character had this comic book that was it just looked like a Gundam comic book manga, like nothing like off about it. And she's telling her friends, because she's really socially awkward, that like, oh, this is like my favorite book ever. It's so dirty. And they're looking at it and they're like, what's dirty about it? I don't get it. She goes, oh, let me read it for you. And so it cuts to this other animation where she's narrating essentially these 2 robots fighting in space, but it's all like euphemisms for something else. And I had to voice the male robot and the female robot. And the male robot, I did an impression of one of our engineers at the time, who's now a director. His name is Chris George.
Oh my God.
After we recorded it, they brought him in and told him I had used him as my voice model for that character, and he listened to it with me standing there, and it was so embarrassing. Because he would do this thing where he would come up and be like, hey, how you doing? And that's not how he sounds, but it's like his creeper voice, and so that's what I used.
Oh my god, that's so
and I'm in the booth, and they're like, we're gonna let Chris listen to this, and I'm like, no, and took my headphones off, and I was like, this is awful, please no.
Yeah, mine is really just mostly embarrassing stuff. Like I was one of the Appleseed movies, and it was early on, and like, you know, and this doesn't happen much in anime scripts, but in more filmic type scripts, they'll describe how a character might be delivering a line, like shyly says or breaks up as says something. And I was so focused on the line that I read like the description of how the character should read it, and then the line. So like, distractedly say, and I was and the director was like, "Oh, ha, that's funny. Yeah, all right, let's do another one." And I did it again.
No,
I didn't even realize that I had done it. They thought I was kidding. Anyway, I've never.
Was that the one that I worked on with you?
I think it was the one before that. Yeah,
oh, okay.
Yeah. But I felt real stupid for like maybe a couple hours.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been there, done that. I get locked into a weird.
Yeah. I was just like, those are words, and I'm in front of a mic, and I'm reading them.
Those are words.
You were just so in it, David. You were doing your job.
The Matrix keeps rebooting and locking you in. Liel, thank you. That was a great one. What's next? From Jillian, what was your favorite scene in My Hero Academia Heroes Rising? And I'll backtrack that. You could say any of your favorite scene from any facet of My Hero you might have been involved with.
I'm a bad person and haven't seen the movie.
Same.
Heroes Rising, that's the most recent one, right?
Yeah.
I loved any time that that Maxie Whitehead spoke. And like her little boy voice is just unparalleled to me.
Yeah.
It's just the most pure, sweet, precious little pumpkin voice of all time. Like it just, like I would just literally like tear up anytime that I would hear that little boy voice. It's so cute. But yeah, that's probably just my mom showing the little boy.
Fair. Like I said, any doesn't have to be to Hero Rising, but if you have any scene from any facet of My Hero that comes to mind.
I'm really partial. I'm really partial. I got to direct episode 77 of My Hero Academia because that's when Colleen was simultaneously working on Heroes Rising and the simuldub was still going on. So it was like all hands on deck kind of situation. And that episode, there's like major spoilers in it, so I won't say anything. But like that episode, the entire episode was just so emotionally charged, and Brandon McInnes, who plays Sir Night-Eye, is one of my dear friends in real life, and I got to direct him in some really awesome material, and it was just like super special, and I was so proud of him. And
he's so talented. He's so good. As for Bubble Girl, I feel like I have to say it just because it's going to haunt me for the rest of my career. But in the beginning of season 4, when she's in the tickle machine, and it's a scene that I know is like, it's gonna like, hey, remember when you did this? And I'm like, yeah, because I remember getting there and Colleen being like, so today, this, and I was like, cool. But it's fun, like actually to voice that scene was really fun because anytime you get to laugh hysterically for like a really long period of time, everybody in the room is laughing by the time you're done.
Right.
And so we did 2 takes of it, and just we were all dying laughing because it was like, well, this is weird, and let's just dive in and make it happen. So yeah, I feel like I have to say that scene just because I keep getting the pictures from it.
Okay, so I won't. I'm really biased towards, of course, the stuff that I've done, so I'm not going to say any of that. But I still think like one of I love seeing, I mean, I get it, like Deku's the main character, like cool, whatever, Deku. You're so cool. Whatever, Deku. But I really love getting to see, anytime we get to see the focus be on other characters fighting, I guess, because then you get to see, like, we see Deku's quirk all the time, essentially. So I love getting to see how smart and creative the other kids are in using their quirks. Because I feel like every character, almost every character, I can't say 100% because I can't remember right now, but almost all of them have gotten to really show how smart they are, and even Mineta.
Mineta's a total tactician, man. He's really smart.
He's super smart. Yeah, and so they're all and they get to show like why they're there for a reason. because I mean they are in the top class. So anytime you get to watch any of the other kids be really smart and creative, I love that.
That's an awesome answer. I love that too. I think that's what I love about the show in general is you get to see everybody how useful they are and their own creativity. I'll be here. The latest movie, I've only seen it once, but the movie's really good. So like, so good. I love everything in it. I would say probably the Bakugo Deku journey and where they kind of arrive was awesome. And then just from the series, I love the Stain arc, the whole in the Hosu City, the fight with Todoroki and Ida and Deku. So yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes.
Fair, absolutely fair. Jillian, thank you. Great question. We have time for one more, so I'll ask our producers to pull a really good one. And this comes from Kyle. I would like to know, what fandoms did you enjoy while growing up?
Dragon Ball Z, baby! Yeah. I was such a big fan of Dragon Ball Z that I took a tour of Funimation because I love Dragon Ball Z. My first kiss with my now husband was watching Dragon Ball Z. I watched Dragon Ball Z after school every day. Hi, Ken.
my brother and I actually used to watch it like on Toonami, like the OG Toonami after school also. Yes. So that was something I enjoyed with my brother. He and I were also both real big fans of like the 90s Batman animated series. That was a real big one. So good. I've always been a huge Disney fan. That's never gone away. Stuff like that.
Nice.
I also, sorry, I have to also say Vampire Hunter and Hellsing and Gundam and
Brina. I love it.
What else? Like everything that was on Toonami for sure. Although I never got into Sailor Moon. I was too much of a tomboy, I think, at the time to get into it.
Fair. That's
I don't have a ton to add. I mean, Dragon Ball, Vampire Hunter. Like I watched Speed Racer, like not knowing.
Oh yeah, I used to have a Speed Racer lunchbox.
Yes, man, I loved Speed Racer. I loved what Alexis said too, like the Batman stuff. But yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much it. I got into I didn't watch a ton of like animated stuff growing up. When I think about it, like
I only watched animated stuff.
It's interesting.
Until I was like 23. I didn't watch anything that was not animated.
That's awesome. Yeah, I found it later, but yeah.
And it's funny, I didn't really have fandom growing up. Also, I'm, as y'all's elder. We
were fans of you growing up.
That was so crazy to me. Like, I remember the first time I met Travis Willingham and he was just like, oh my God, he's and I'm like, my brain can't process this. That doesn't make sense to me. I will tell you this, is I do remember when I very first started voicing Dragon Ball Z, I was telling my mom, I'm doing this show, like I'm voicing these characters and I think it's a big deal. Like I think it's going to be a big deal. And she was just like, sure, honey.
I don't think it shaped the minds of a generation. It's no big deal.
Yeah. I know for me, I
was going to say, it wasn't until the Macy's Thanksgiving parade that my mom was like, oh my God, you were right. And I'm like, 20 years later? Wow.
Thanks, Mom.
Oh, sorry, Megan.
No, I know for me, like, growing up, I did watch like Sailor Moon, and I know one of the first animes I watched where I was like, wow, it was Fruits Basket. And so then, fast forward now, and I've directed Eric Vale, and he's like, and I'm like, well, everything's ruined. It's fine. I think I made like a sappy tweet at like 3 a.m. the other day because I was catching up on the new Fruits Basket, and I was like, I'm crying in bed. It was really sappy and silly, but and also just so I love Fruits Basket. I didn't really I was one of those kids that didn't really have a lot of friends that were friends in general, and friends that were like into anime. So like I kind of just had to nerd out by myself. I also liked basically anything my eyeballs could find on Toonami, I would watch, even if it wasn't like something I'm into now. So like I would watch whatever Gundam was on Toonami. I remember watching Inuyasha, and I remember watching Sailor Moon, and anything my eyeballs could suck up. Like that was what I was into. So like I was just kind of thinking, like, especially when I was watching Fruits Basket the other night, I was like, man, it's so weird. I was like 12 years old watching a Fruits Basket DVD that my friend let me borrow in middle school. And now I'm playing Momiji's sister. Like, and I'm not going to spoil it, but if you read the manga, there's like a big sad Momiji thing coming. I mean, the whole show, every character is sad. But yeah, so I'm like, I'm gonna get to do that. And it's so weird. It's so weird to think about.
I felt the same way, like working on when Dragon Ball Kai came around. Chris asked me to do to assistant direct for him on that, and it was just like, like I just like sitting, like when we got to the Cell Saga, because the Cell Saga was my favorite like arc, and so I was like, so beautiful. What am I even doing here?
Oh yeah, another show I was the same way about. It wasn't like, oh, there's a 10-year gap. Another fandom that I'm really big into, and if you've been on my Twitter, like, like I just love Live in general. I mean, I have like a whole shelf over here, and I don't even get me started. But like then getting to like, be involved with that whole property and, in some way, shape, or form, I was just like, my heart, like I was like, so there's always like, I consider myself very lucky to have done certain things that I love dearly, because that doesn't always happen. Like you can love something with your whole heart and not be involved, and you just kind of sit there and go, oh, I wish, but I'm still glad it's here, so I'm very lucky, and I'm glad I've had that chance.
And we have been lucky for this opportunity. GalaxyCon viewers, this has been the cast of My Hero Academia, and that was my time, but it does not have to be yours. If you'd like to chat directly with our guests like I have today, or purchase a personalized autograph, please head over to GalaxyCon.com. And while you're there, be sure to check out our schedule of upcoming events like this one. Kyle, thank you for that final question. And panelists, any final words for our audience before we go?
We miss you.
Yes, we miss convention so much. We're so glad we can do this, but it's not the same as in person.
Yeah, same. Thanks.
I miss you guys.
I know, I miss you too, all of you.
Yes. Hopefully we'll be able to get to a convention at some point soon.
Before 2038.
Yes.
Don't jinx it.
And we certainly miss you all as well. Again, I miss hosting you all on our various stages. And again, I look forward to the day where we have you back on the GalaxyCon stage and in front of your fans.
Yes.
It's absolutely to that day. So thank you to our audience. Thank you for those great questions. We hope to see you again this coming weekend, where we'll be joined by guests from The 100, Apex Legends, Star Trek Voyager, and Fairy Tail. Thank you again, everyone. Bye-bye. Take care. And please keep washing those hands.
Oh.